I'm Carly Barry. I'm the Client Experience Manager at Stonehouse Projects. If you'd like to know a little bit more about Stonehouse Projects as a business, please visit our website at www.stonehouseprojects.co.uk. In addition, we thought it might be of interest to learn a little bit more about the key members of staff that keep this engine moving. And drum roll, today we have our MD, Steve Waugh. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I suppose last but not least, but yeah, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Are you prepared for this?
No, but I'll be as prepared as I can be.
Okay, fantastic. So let's start off with you telling us all a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Steve Waugh. I've been in this industry for, believe it or not, over 30 years now. You'd never guess, looking at me, would you? I've been running Stonehouse now for 22 years. Started the business off originally in a spare bedroom, which was quite a bold move really at that time. And I've been part of the business ever since, just enjoying it, watching it grow, watching it flourish. And I suppose a little bit like a plant or a child, you feed it, you give it more nourishment, you help it grow and flourish and really to what it's become today.
Absolutely, fantastic. And obviously this is probably a tough question for you. What does your job entail, be it day to day, week to week, month to month, year on year? Can you give us a really good overview of what your job entails?
Yeah, good question. I would say that the role, even for myself as the owner of the business, has changed immensely over the years. I think in the early days it was very much about kind of hand to mouth. You were just kind of working constantly for the next month, the next quarter, and I was pretty much doing everything from sales to back of house to front of house, obviously with help. Mm-hmm. But as the business grew, as it became stronger, as it became bigger and more successful, I was able to employ people that were far better at certain tasks than what I was, allowing me to really focus on the development and the growth of the business. Fast forward to now, 2024, I found myself kind of, I suppose, at the front of the ship, with hands on the steering wheel, avoiding the icebergs, and kind of being the head of everything within the business. So I kind of find myself around lots of the departments. I get really involved in an awful lot more than what I did at one point within the business, just because the teams are an awful lot closer now than what they've ever been, and I think you would agree with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That now we are very much a family as a business. We operate together as a family, and every link in that chain is as important as the next one. So I'm involved in so much more with all these teams to ensure that we all pull forward, pull in the right direction to allow me to kind of dodge the icebergs, I guess, with the steering wheel.
Yeah, no, fantastic. But you still do anything and everything as you always did, so you're quite happy to put the kettle on, make the drinks, sweep up outside. You're still very much involved.
Yeah. I think you should never get away from that, really. I think so many people kind of start off that way, and if they've had levels of success, they almost forget where they started from. Yeah. And for me, it was never about that, and it's always at the forefront of my mind to not only be mindful of the opportunities I've had and been given, and the successes that I've enjoyed as a result of that, but always being one eye, always constantly on kind of where it started. And I think that for me to ask anything of anybody, I've always been of that belief that you've got to be prepared to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So you'll find me in the toilets cleaning if it needs cleaning.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true.
Filling soaps up and all that kind of thing. You'll find me outside sweeping the leaves up. You'll find me emptying the bins, and just kind of doing what some may say is mundane, but for me it just kind of keeps everything moving. Even as today, I went out and bought bacon for all of us, and you very kindly prepped it all for us all so that we could all have a bacon sandwich together. And I think that those things are really important, that you always don't stray away too far from where you started. So whilst you may have great aspirations and things change within the business, I think just to kind of answer the question correctly, it's nice to just kind of always be very mindful of where it started.
Yeah, so grounded,
I
remain
think so.
grounded.
Yeah,
It's great advice,
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Okay, so what got you into the industry? Obviously, we know where the business started off, but what was your journey to get here?
I'd like to say it was a grand plan and that it was well executed, but I'd be lying. I think really I always knew I wanted to work for myself, and I was always really fortunate in working for companies or people that were at the head of these companies, or definitely within the management of these businesses, that gave me an opportunity. And those opportunities allowed me to develop, and they allowed me to grow, and they allowed me to see other things that ultimately kind of paved the way for me to become self-employed.
Fantastic.
And I think that how I eventually got into what we do today, I think it's really as through chance. We set the business up primarily as a bespoke joinery supplier and specifier and design house, and then we moved on into other areas of work. And I found myself speaking to clients when we were producing work for them, and they'd say, "Oh, can you just do this while you're here? Are you able to quote for this? And are you able to do this?" And my simple answer as a young business owner that was trying to kind of grow the business was always yes.
Yes.
I'd always say yes, and then I'd go outside.
Worry about it later.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I would go outside and think, right, okay, I've said yes to this. How am I going to execute this? And again, I think it's always been mindful that if you surround yourself with people who are always better than you at something, then it kind of brings your own game up.
Yes.
So I would surround myself around people that could do things that I couldn't do, which will ultimately allow me to deliver it on behalf of a client in this situation. And the business just kind of grew from there, and it just kind of grew its own arms and legs. And we went from being a small subcontractor to a main contractor, and then to a point now where we only work for ourselves. We develop our own schemes, we design our own schemes, and we deliver our own schemes, and I'm really proud of that.
Absolutely.
So long journey, and as I say, it wasn't something I wrote down on paper at the time, and that business plan has changed over the years somewhat.
You've got to flex with it though, haven't you? You've got to adapt and move with whatever's presented.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely, because things happen in the world that are beyond our control, and I think that, as you've just said there about being, flexing with the change, most businesses and many large businesses find it so difficult to flex and be as adaptable as a small business, and sometimes it can be their detriment because they take too long to make those decisions.
Yeah, sure.
And by the time those decisions have been made, the wind of change has changed again. And I think a small business or a more flexible and agile business can literally just spin on a 2p piece and change direction if need be. And I never really want to get too far away from that, because I think that that's really what's been our success.
Yeah, sure.
Is that ability to see things and quickly adapt.
Absolutely.
And equally, I'm surrounded by great people that allow me to do that. So I can't take the credit for that. It's the people around me that flex and change upon my decision making or choices that we're making as a business, and they flex and change with me.
Absolutely.
So it does make it fairly simple and straightforward, really. And
without being too precious with things as well, isn't it? So it's adapting and flexing, as you say, but almost being a little bit step back as well. When things do have to change, being prepared to do that without being sort of protective of any work that's being done in the background. And
absolutely, yeah, I think that's key. It's key, and I think if you do take things too personally, or you can't really adapt to change, then really you become obsolete very quickly. So I think it's constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly sticking to the plan, but as in the general direction that you're going and the destination, but how you get there sometimes changes.
Yeah,
and I think that's been the critical factor to our success.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so if you were to give one piece of advice to someone who is contemplating coming into this industry, and I appreciate things have chopped and changed, but sort of the here and now, where we are as a business now, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, How do you answer that in one question? It's a tough one, is that? I think always have a plan and stick to plan A. Don't have this idea of having a plan B. Because I think if you have a plan B, you'll never put 100% into plan A.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I fail at something, it's never a failure, it's always as a result of a lesson that's learned. So I may fall, but I won't stay down, I'll always get back up. And I think for anybody coming into the business or the industry, to have that kind of mentality of that, you know, don't be afraid of falling, only be afraid of failing. Because when you fail, it usually means that you stop.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
If you fall and get back up, you never fail. You never fail. And I think that level of tenacity and that level of determination is key for anybody coming into, I suppose, not just our industry, but any industry really, to succeed. I think you really need to not be afraid of falling. I think that's the thing, and just keep going and stick to your guns. And if it feels good, it's right. If it doesn't feel right, usually isn't.
Yeah.
So stick to exactly always remind yourself why you're doing something. Why did I start this? What is my reason for doing this every day? And then just keep focused on that path.
Excellent advice, fantastic. So traditionally we always end our interview with a couple of questions, 2 or 3 questions, which sort of delve a little bit more into you as a person, just for a bit of interest. So if you can give me a number between 1 and 30, please.
19.
19, okay. Okay, we've not had this so far. So if you could turn back the time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself at that point?
Wow. I think I would just tell myself that you've got this. You've got this. I think from quite a personal standpoint, I think when you're surrounded by good people that have got you back and that would support you no matter what, that's a great feeling to have. It wasn't fortunately what I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I had naysayers, people who were saying you can't do this, you've not got that education, you're not from that background, you're not, all the reasons why you shouldn't do something. And for me that was really just fire in the belly for me to propel myself forward. So I think I would just whisper in my 18-year-old selves here and just say, you just stick to your guns. Yeah, you've got this. Just keep going. And I think that's all I could really say. And hopefully that gives you the answer that you're looking for.
Great answer, absolutely. Okay, can you choose another number between 1 and 30?
6.
Number 6. Okay, who would you like to play you in a movie?
Play me in a movie. Well, my favourite kind of character is Rocky, played by Sylvester Stallone. So maybe a younger version of Stallone, and not necessarily because it's Stallone, but the way in which he wrote Rocky. I love that story. It's really been the backdrop of my life. It's the outsider. It's the long shot. It's the guy that just wants to show the world that he can go the distance, and just getting the shot at the title. And that whole story and the whole Rocky saga is really the backdrop of my life, and really continues to be the heartbeat that kind of keeps me going forward. It propels me, not only in my passion for fitness and determination and that willingness to succeed, but I just love the way in which that character's written, and it really resonates with me.
Yes.
So yeah, if he could kind of create something on those lines, or act in a way that was kind of in that kind of mould, then I think it definitely float my boat. Definitely, yeah.
If you're listening, keep your diary open.
If you're listening, it's live.
Absolutely. Definitely. Okay, I think we've got time for one more because we've gone on for many minutes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. We'd like to hear one last number.
27.
27. Okay, another question that we've not had so far. So, have you had your I've made it moment yet?
Wow, great question. fantastic question. No. Yes, but no, but yes. That's a really good question, because I think, at what point do you think you've made it?
Absolutely.
And there's so many parts in your life that you can feel that you've made it. Whether it's having your kids, whether it's buying your first house, setting the business up, meeting my fantastic investors, and the fact that I managed to convince them that I was a safe bet. All those things, but I don't think I'll ever get to that point, because every time I conquer a mountain or I climb a mountain, I'm always kind of looking ahead for the next one to climb, and that can often be seen as somebody that is never happy or content with what they've achieved or what they're achieving. But for me, it just keeps me hungry.
Yes.
I lose all that determination and hunger if I don't keep finding another mountain to climb.
Yeah.
So I've not really had that moment, but I've had it multiple times.
Yes.
But they're almost like small peaks of success that keep me going to the next climb, the next mountain, the next peak. So yeah, I've had it many times, but I've not kind of got to the point where I would think, yeah, I'm kind of content with where I'm at. Will I ever? I'm not sure, but I'm very happy with where we're heading, what we're doing, and what's ahead of us as a business and as a family that we've created in this business.
Fantastic, and I think you speak for all of us when you say that as well. So thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.